Hello everybody, hello. I'm gonna try to frame this beautifully. Yeah, I was, I came back from the farmer's market and I did my pictures and I had my lunch and I was enjoying to be sunbathing in my kitchen and I was thinking about this story of 2000 and quelques years ago about this big event that happened on Easter weekend. And I wanted to remember you something that I shared many times about what is going on for each of us, because all these stories, they have, the tales and the legend and all these beautiful, magical stories. They have sometimes hurtful stories. They have something that has to see with cycles of nature and cycles simply of life. So for Easter weekend, it's also the rising of the spring energy. So it's a beautiful time of expansion of, the life after winter that is going out and that is really growing and pushing inside each of us. We can feel it and it can be exhausting sometimes. So I wanted to remember that these 3 days of Easter, especially at the beginning, for sure, of spring, it is also to remember that we have this cycle inside of us, because we are all of us, no matter, it's not about religion, it's about simply cosmic energy. We are all of us connected to the Christic energy. The Christic energy, for me, it is the one of healing, sharing, something that has to see with individuality, authenticity, integrity, and about, it can be revolutionary as well, to go against the old paradigms, the old doxa, the old dogma, all this. Because everything is changing all the time, everything is timeless, everything is intemporal, meaning that things repeat, but they are not the same. They seem to be the same, but they are not. But there are some basic cycles that we know. We have the seasons, so we know about these cycles of nature, and we are, as nature, acted by these forces. So these 3 days, besides the fact that it's the beginning of spring and very, very powerful and beautiful, alive energy, and about inspiration, about creation, about regeneration, it's also something we have to keep in mind. I spoke a lot about that in my video. I experimented that so many times in my body. Christ energy is about self-healing. It's about, in a way, making alive this light that we come from. Because sure, we have a physical appearance, but we come from this invisible realm. And it's like manifesting in the flesh this light that we come from. And there is the source of healing, of regenerating, of resurrection. So we can see these 3 days from crucifixion to resurrection, like the time when in our lives we struggle with something or we become sick. I experimented this several times with the flu. The first day, I'm really, really, really down. I feel really bad, really tired. And I know it's a signal for me to stop and to give me, in consciousness, I do this consciously, to give me 3 days. 3 days for myself. 3 days to let the process of regeneration, of don't want to say cleaning, but it's a process of mutation. To let this process of mutation work. Don't interfere with that process. I do what I feel when I am like that, and what I feel is to rest. For me, but this is me. I don't say that you have to do that. For me, I go by a kind of logical thing. When there is heat, it helps to grow, like you see the eggs, or the plants with the sun. So as I embrace that time of disease, if I can say, that I don't treat like something negative. I don't take it like something negative. I take it like a process of evolution, of mutation. Because we are mutating all the time, we have to don't forget that. We are mutant. All the time our DNA is changing. And regarding the way we think, what we eat, what we are surrounded by, the people we are with, the music we listen, this imprint our DNA. So this is changing non-stop. There is not a time where it stops. Even if we have the feeling nothing is going on, there is always something going on. So these 3 days, you can decide when you are feeling really tired, or you have a trouble that is in your mind, or something, that is there, like something that is bothering you. You can take it, observe you, seeing yourself, observing yourself, being in that struggling time, acknowledging that you are suffering, that it's disturbing, that don't reject that. This is actually the energy that's going to be needed to transmutate, to transform that. So, but for that, you have to see it. You have to observe yourself, observing yourself in that process. You have to just acknowledge what is there. It's painful, yes, it's painful. What is touching? When you already do that, you put less resistance. And you can start by stepping back like that, to be detached and be less involved emotionally, to make things relative, to put things in perspective. And this is the beginning of the process. And in consciousness, you give you 3 days thinking of these 3 days from crucifixion to resurrection. Because when we are bad, when we are going through something painful, it's a crucifixion. So we can take it like that, like these 3 days, like an opportunity to let a process of transformation be without interfering. But for that, you have also to trust the process. And this, nobody can do it for you. You have to really be really in touch with yourself, what's right for you. If you are on fears, it's very difficult to let the process be and unfold. When I had the flu several times in the last 20 years, maybe 3-4 times, I totally embrace that. And every time it lasts 3 days, no more. And after the third day, I start the third day actually to feel great energy, because I did not interfere with the process. I have not taken fever killer or painkiller. I use my homeopathic. I use what I feel to do in the moment. For me, it's increasing the heat, hot bath, hot liquid, stay in my bed very hot with a lot of blanket and duvet and cashmere and things to be really warm and sweating. But this is my way to do it. And for me, it's working. Because I trust the process of natural growth, natural regeneration. I have the feeling in that time I'm like an egg that the little chick gonna get out. And it needs all this warmth and all this to have this new life coming. Because every time when we go through this, it's like a cycle, and it's a new life. It's something new, like never before. So you have to find your own way to go through this process. But for that, you have to maybe to connect to these 3 days of this Jesus Christ experience, because it's something we live in our body all the time, because as I told you, we are crossed by this cosmic Christic energy. And it's about also the Christ and the crystal. It's about also manifesting this beautiful light we come from in a body, for the body to be like a crystal-like, like to shine, like to spread light, like to emanate that light, to be able to that when others sees you, they feel your vibration, where you are happy and you are on that frequency. And when they see you, they can also at their turn by resonance be on that frequency. There is nothing to do, it's just to be. You just have to be. And for that, I don't know how to do it differently than being like marveled by life, by the fact that we can just with this body, create beauty, spread beauty, and it's wonderful. It's really wonderful, and it's short. Life is very short, so we have to optimize. You have to optimize that as much as we can, and to be like, if we are in this marvelous state, in this to be marveled, it's about letting the light shining through you. It's sparkling. I have absolutely no way to tell you how to do it, because nobody can do it for you. And for this, it's about appreciation, it's about gratitude, it's about for what you have. And even if it's a tiny thing that makes you happy, it can be just a flower, or just that thing can really feed you deeply. And when you have a garden, it's wonderful to see them growing, especially now, it's a time, So if you connect to this rhythm of nature, you are not in fear anymore about, for example, death and degeneration, if we can say, at fall and in winter, because we know that it's a cycle, and we know that it will be the resurrection at spring. And we can celebrate that. And when we are on that, we can celebrate each season. We can appreciate each changes, and also inside of us, the cycles of life and even death, because as women we go also through death with menopause, the death of a part of its time of life. It's not a death, it's really the end of a cycle and the beginning of a new one, even more creative, because we can create when we don't create baby as our flesh anymore. We can create things that can think, they can feed much more people than a single human being. And because we acquired experience, and these experiences we acquired because we aged, we cannot have the same experience when we are 20, 30, 40, 50, and 60, and almost 70. It's not possible. And it's just by aging. It's for that. It's really beautiful how we can switch at menopause from, instead of seeing this like we lose something, but seeing this like we're going to get more time, we're going to be able to be more free, we're going to be, for me, it has been an explosion. It's really, it has been hard. It has been really difficult, very tiring in my body, but I was okay, I was not putting resistance to the process. I went through the process. I went to the sweat night, totally sweating, and I didn't have hot flashes really much, but sweat night and very, very, very tired. But I knew it will end. It's like when I gave birth, I knew it will end. So when you don't put resistance, things are sliding easier on you. It's like there is resistance is what brings sufferance. So try to keep in mind that this is for me is really the basic. And it's what helped me when I gave birth to my first child when I was 17. It's something that always amazed me because as I lived in nature when I was a little girl, I saw animals giving birth, I saw that, and I knew it was a natural process. So I was not scared. It was my first child, but I was not scared at all. Because deep inside, I was connected to this wisdom of nature, knowing that it's a natural process and it will be okay. And when you are like that, you don't put resistance and things are flowing in an easier way. So the basic, and I think this should be really taught at school, it's to know who we are as human beings, as nature, and how we are animated by the same forces, and how it's beautiful to let flow and to go with the process, to trust, because this is the way we will be able to trust the process, and trust the process even in challenging times, because we know deep inside that somewhere everything is always in perfect order, even if sometimes it's a little bit shaking us, It's really like, okay, the thing is, the mindset we have when a challenge is coming is what gonna make the difference. Because we can often, humans are tempted to see the most negative issue in a situation when something challenging is coming. Because maybe of this imprint of the 3 days, maybe it's a Catholic, religious, Jewish, I don't know, all these religions that instill that there is also a kind of sign of when something happens, some people think it's because it's a punition, or it's a test for them to be stronger, or no, it's just an experiment, it's just something, a situation we go through. There is no punition, there is no, test, there is just to leave the thing, to go with the flow, and just to trust. And so it's that. I wanted to share that with you on this weekend because I think it's all what it's about. And it's something, as I said before, that should be taught at school, about the cycles, how we are connected to the cycles of nature, and how we can reconnect if we are disconnected to this wisdom that we all have inside of us, because we come from this nature, and nature is totally amazing. How it's possible that it recreates, when you see the plants, when you see the animals, when you see us, it's to create in 9 months a body with all the organs, with all what is working. It's mind-blowing. It's really like in 9 months. So if we are connected to this marvel of this process, and we stay connected to the forces that are creating us, that I think we choose. I think as soul and from the source, we decided the body we will take and the parent we will have, with the precise circumstances we're going to live. And when I saw this in my early 30s, it totally changed my life. And this also was something that instilled that trust in life. this doesn't mean that I have no apprehension. Sometimes when a change is coming, I'm human like everyone else, but the difference is that I observe it. I observe myself being in this challenge. And I like to also observe the negative option that I could think that is coming. And to say, okay, this is one option, but there are so many options that I cannot see. And when I connect the dot in my life, it's always been better and better and better, because also I am in that flow and in that trust. So it's always something, when there is something challenging, that remember me, I remember that, and it's always something that make like a shift and make me go through the challenge. And most often there is, by being open to any possibilities, mostly positive, it's like it lets the door open to these possibilities to come. If I was stuck on the negative possible option issue, there are chances that by resonance, by way of resonance, I will be facing a situation that I'm stuck in. So it's a little bit challenging when it's hard times, but it's also the condition to better understand this process. The most important thing in that process is to observe yourself with all this idea and thought and fears and eventually fears, and to just say, okay, I'm aware of that, but don't be under the emotional pressure of that. So, voila, I wanted to share this with you, and because I think it's, oh, a beautiful bird. This morning I saw this amazing bird, black with red wings. Oh, it was fantastic. And now there is another one there that is really, really beautiful. Wow, it's amazing. So, voila. So I wish you a good Easter weekend. I think I'm gonna do a small presentation of some new shawls that I received. This one is also a new one, that it's called Little Feathers, because I wanted to have this, little fringes all around with a different shade. So this is a warm gray with copper. And I have it also with warm gray with dark gray. And I'm experimenting that. I have it white with black. And this will be on order only. So this is just what I received a few days ago. And I also received some new meditation cocoon in 2 sizes. So I'm going to do a video, I think maybe now, about these, and like this you're gonna see the different sizes of the meditation cocoon, because it's so hard to get them. I have really few of them, so if you are interested. I received also the precious mistakes, and after many months to ask for them, so they are here. But these are the new design, Little Feathers, because for me it's like little feathers, it's like that. Voila, I wish you a good Sunday, Easter Sunday and Easter Monday. Tomorrow it's resurrection time, so maybe think a little bit about that, about this process, how it is for you. And when you are facing something, try to get, sometimes I forget, even myself, I forget about it, but try to have this cycle of 3 days and let the thing evolve by itself for the 3 days, by being by putting your consciousness about that. You can do a ritual with incense, with sage, with salt, with crystal, with anything you like. A meditation when it starts to be challenging with these 3 days, and see yourself get out as a light from the tomb, 3 days after, like, because the tomb is also, in the same time, it's the symbol of the cave where everything, the alchemy is at work, where, like in the womb, where the creation, something is transformating, it's like mutating, it's like evolving, growing. And it's this light inside of us that is at work, this force, universal force. And after the 3 days, the let go is gone, and often we are enlightened. Often there is inspiration, there is enlightenment, there are, these beautiful feelings of resurrection. So, big kisses, and I may do a live with the shawls now.